So welcome everybody to the second webinar of the Hungry EcoCities open call. Hungry EcoCities is one of the STARTS residencies. And today we're going to talk you through different elements of this open call, and we will have time to also address the questions you might have. We are here with a part of our team, and many of them you can recognize with the colorful background. My name is Lia Groenewoud van Vliet. I'm one of the co-founders of InfoArt, one of the partners within the Hungry EcoCities system project, and I will be your host for today. So I will shortly introduce the project. Then afterwards, we will go a bit more in depth into the application form and the application environment moderated by Funding Box. Anka will present that. Then we will deep dive into the evaluation criteria so that you will know what your application should cover. Then we will talk a bit about the matchmaking process that will be conducted for the pre-selected artists out of this call. And then we will go into the digital toolbox, having the 3 university partners of our consortium explaining a bit more what we mean with that. And then we hope to have enough time to address all your questions. Throughout the whole presentation, you can already start asking questions in the chat. We have different moderators of the chats from the Hungry EcoCities consortium. And at the end, we will answer most of your questions directly. And if we are not able to do it directly, we will take them with us and we will integrate them in the FIQ, the frequently asked questions. So Hungry EcoCities, it's a project that we are conducting with 8 different partners. And what we are doing is we are working towards a more healthy, sustainable, responsible, and affordable agri-food system enabled by AI. As a consortium, we have this project for 3.5 years, and throughout that time frame, we will have 2 open calls. And this webinar is specifically focused on the first open call, where we are searching for artists that want to collaborate with us in what we are calling the Humanizing technology experiments. So that's the first open call for which we have 10 open positions. We already had a first webinar. In that webinar, all the partners have introduced themselves and they have explained their background a bit. So if you're interested in that, I recommend you to rewatch the first webinar. But since we have some people already in the house that have watched the first, we want to highlight other elements in this webinar. This is a short overview of the whole project, where you can see that we are starting with an igniting question from which we have distilled our direction. How can increased awareness and technological tools impact the future where we use resources responsibly to produce and consume food? Based on that, the studios have created 3 different directions, and those are the starting points for the proposals of the artists to submit for this Hungry EcoCities call. And then in the end, what we are expecting from you are different outcomes. We are looking for demonstrated prototypes of the digital technologies. We are looking for a digital component to test in a use case, which will be part of the second open call. And of course, we are interested in the artistic works, which might be in progress still throughout the Humanizing technology experiments, because these are experiments that we're going to do together. We have set up an environment, the Hungry EcoCities landing page on Better Factory, and that is your first go-to. If you go to the Read First section, you will find all the information, and there you'll also find the link to watch the first webinar, which I referred to earlier. But also you can download there the guide for applicants with more detailed information, the frequently asked questions, which we are updating on a continuous basis, the 3 directions booklet with the studios, and the application form template to already be informed what types of questions we will ask you. So these are the 3 directions. You can apply to one of these directions and submit a proposal, but if you also have an interest in one of the other directions, you can apply to that as well, but that would be a second application. So you can apply a max 3 times to each one of these directions. Then I would like to give the floor to Anka to talk you through the application form.
Thank you, Lia. So if you haven't already, I'm Anka Marin from Funding Box. I'm one of the project partners. We are going to be the ones to keep directly in touch with you during the application process and the selection process, but we are your connection with the rest of the partners as well. So every information you may need, whether it's about the application process or a more technical one, you are going to get the answers through the help desk managed by us. So if you haven't already created an account on the Funding Box platform, now it's a very good time to start, because you still have plenty of time to think of your proposal and submit it. So first of all, you'll have to sign up, and you will create your account with Funding Box, which will enable you to further continue your application process for Hungry EcoCities. Next slide, Leah, please. Okay. So the idea with the application form is that you will have it available online. This is the only option for you to submit a proposal with Hungry EcoCities through the online application form. On our documents page, you'll also find the template in Word if it's more convenient for you to fill it in offline and then fill it in the form on the microsite. Very important is that you can, even if you submit the application, you can start editing it. You can go back and edit it as many times as you need before the deadline on the 15th of May, or once you have started the draft, you can edit it. Make sure that with the next slide, please. Please make sure that with every of these sections, once you have started to fill them in, if you don't go through the entire section, for example, related experience of the artist, you just start filling in and then you stop at the second portfolio, just make sure you include some text and save it so that you don't lose the parts that you have already filled in. As you can see here, we have 8 different sections. The most, one click please, the most relevant ones are these two for the project proposals and a proposal and resources and budget. In the first 3 ones, you are more focused on what you already know, what you already do, and your contact details. And the last 3 parts are more about administrative tasks, like your self-declaration about what you are presenting here, and your consent for processing personal data, and some questions about statistics. So your focus here is the project proposal and resources and budget, which shouldn't take more than a couple hours of your time. Next, please. So once you have filled in all these sections, please make sure you click on the submit button. This is very, very important. And you will only be able to do that once all mandatory fields in all 8 sections are completed. That's very, very important for you to know. Now, I will stop just for a minute on 2 aspects in the application form, because we have touched this in the previous webinar, but 2 important aspects. We have included one more question in the application form. Everybody was notified about it, but if you have already submitted, you can still go back to edit it. Make sure you get to this question in the proposal section, and you reply accordingly. The application will be updated automatically. Now, regarding the budget, this is something that we like to have it very clear for us. This is just an example of a budget that takes you to the full requested amount of 40,000 euros. So personal costs should be your fees. For example, if I were an artist, I estimated that for the 9 months residency, I would have a fee of 2,000 euros. So this is my personal cost. And then for travel costs, the frequently asked question documents clearly states that we estimate around 5 travels. So I estimated about 5,000 euros for the travels. Consumables, whatever you feel that you may need, like consumable materials for the execution of the project. And then we have subcontracting, which cannot be more than 20% of the grant. So it cannot exceed 8,000 euros subcontracting in case you need technologies and services from a third party that you are going to involve in your project. And then the overheads, this is something that you either estimate or not, but it's limited to 25% from the previous 3 categories. So with these numbers, I get to the 40,000 euros grant which we encourage all of you to try to attain, because we have the 40,000 euros available for you. So why not try to reach for all of it? And very important, it's a 9 months residency, so you will actually need to employ a lot of costs for traveling and other items. So hopefully this is clear for you in terms of budget, but if you have questions, we'll take them at the end. Next slide, please. Okay, so the evaluation criteria. Now we are at this stage where you are submitting the proposals, and you have until the 15th of May at 5 o'clock Brussels time. Once you have submitted the proposals, we are going to do this brief eligibility check, when we are checking that you are a self-declared artist, an individual artist, you are based or have a permanent residency in one of the eligible countries, and you have submitted all the mandatory information in English. Okay, once we have done that, we are moving on to the in and out of scope screening, and your proposal will get to one of the partners in the project, and they are going to see briefly if what you have suggested as the proposal description is in line with the objectives and the scope of Hungry EcoCities. Once you have completed that stage, we are going to send an email letting everyone know how they are doing, okay? So we are moving on to the independent evaluation stage, where we are involving 2 external experts and 1 other internal expert from the consortium partner. And they are the ones that are going to score your proposal. And I'm talking about scoring and criteria a bit later. Those applications that have been scored above the threshold will enter a preliminary list of selected applications, and they are going to be discussed in the consensus meeting of the Hungry EcoCities partners. With this list, from this list, we are going to select 20 finalists that are going to attend the jury day, a very important date for those selected, where they can pitch the proposal to the Hungry EcoCities partners. And from those 20, we are going to select the 10 to sign the sub-grant agreement and to start the residency with Hungry EcoCities. These are the steps. They are very much explained in more detail in the guide for applicants in the frequently asked questions document. But again, we can talk about it later as well. Next slide, please. Okay, I was talking about the independent evaluation. This is where you are being scored. Your proposal is being scored, and the external evaluators are going to look at 3 criteria: excellence, impact, and implementation. They are going to score on each criterion from 0 to 5, and the minimum score for one per criterion is 3, while the overall score, the total score, has to be 10 or above. Okay, so in excellence, they are going to see how good you present your portfolio, how well you answer to the questions in the form regarding the innovation potential of your proposal, the soundness of the approach, and the fit with the purpose of Hungry EcoCities. Then in impact, they are going to look at your artistic potential, and the technology, because in the proposal you will have to select the technologies that you would like to use in your experiment, and then how the project may contribute to developing alternatives to current practices or system within the food value chain, and also the digital tech impact. Again, this criterion is scored 0 to 5 with a minimum of 3 or 10 for overall. While in implementation, you are going to be asked to upload your CV or portfolio, artistic portfolio, and that is going to be looked into as well. The artistic quality based on your previous work that you are going to present in the application form, art technology congruence, and the resources. Here with resources, again, make sure you are coherent and you align whatever you describe with the estimated budget. So Leah or Rodolfo, maybe you can have some tips on the evaluation from the other side of the project for the applicants here, if you'd like to add something.
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Rodolfo. I'm also from InfoArt, one of the partners here. These are quite a lot of points that you have to take into account, but if I should give you one advice, please focus on two parts mainly. First, focus on your artistic idea. So please focus on the questions you want to raise, the topics of your interest that you want to investigate in this experiment, and try to fit that idea with the directions. One of the direction booklet, fields of investigation, and one or multiple of the technological tools that we are offering. If you have a feeling that that is a good fit, then I'm pretty sure that your proposal will be very close or above the threshold in any case. All the other parts that are here are basically subparts to that. So please focus on a strong artistic idea and make it fit with the content direction and with the tech tools that we have to offer.
Okay. Thank you both for this additional info. Then we're going to go to the next phase. So after you have submitted your proposal, there is work on our side to do the first selections rounds. And then, as Anka said, we're going to have 20 pre-selected artists that will be known around the 20th of June. And then we start the matchmaking process. What do we mean with that? Within the humanizing technology experiments, we want to create core teams. And the core teams within these experiments will exist out of the artists, you, the host studio, whether that would be Carlo Ratti Associati, Studio Other Spaces, or the EDS network together with Peter Stefanman. And it will be the technology partner from one of our universities, the KU Leuven, the Brno University of Technology, or the Mendel University. And it will be one of the art-driven innovation partners, which will be InfoArt or Gluon. These teams will be the teams in which you will conduct the residencies. And in order to already understand each other and have a kickstart with that, there will be this matchmaking in this phase between the pre-selection and the jury days. So this is the timeline, which you are also able to see on the general funding box platform for Hungry EcoCities. And there you see that on June 20th, there's going to be a briefing session for the 20 pre-selected artists. So that's something good already to take into account, to reserve in your agendas, because of course, all of you who are submitting is hoping to be the one that are in the 20 pre-selected. And during that briefing session, we will go much more in depth what we mean with this matchmaking, with this art-driven innovation methodology, but we will also support you in finalizing your final presentation for the jury day. And then after June 20th, there will be the matchmaking appointments. And that means that you will have one-on-one meetings with the host studio for the studio or the direction you have applied to. And you will also have a meeting with our tech partners based on the technologies that you have selected to go through your ideas, to go through your proposal, and to also see together what would be feasible and perhaps to already challenge each other a bit and to improve and accelerate the proposal you will give for the jury days. So this is an aspect for you to take into account, that if you are one of the 20 pre-selected candidates, there will be a briefing session on June 20th. And in the weeks afterwards, there will be these one-on-one meetings, which we will coordinate according to all the availabilities and schedules with, on the one hand, the host studios, where the art-driven innovation mentor will also join, and on the other hand, with the tech partners. Ultimately, to get to the jury days, which will be the 10th of July or the 11th of July. So also this is something for you to reserve and have in the back of your mind. And based on all the applications we get and the different partners in it, you will on time hear whether you will be allocated to the jury day on the 10th or the 11th. You will be allocated to one of those days, and there you will get a time slot to present your proposal, and there will be some discussions in Q&A afterwards. So that's a bit about the matchmaking. If you have questions, put them in the chat and we will tackle them later on. Then it's time for us to go to the digital toolbox, where we want to present you the tools that our technology partners, the universities in this project, have available to use during the experiments, and which could also enrich your experiments. The first one we want to go into is that these tools are different. At each of the universities, they have different type of knowledge, different type of expertise. Some can be very well executed remotely, others are much more lab-based. But that's also something you can take into account in your proposal. And during this matchmaking, the idea is that you would get a better idea also how that would fit and how that would work together. And these tools are there also to support your experiments. So they're not the goal, but they are as tools to make sure that you can reach your artistic potential and experiments in it. The first one we want to address are the different tools that KU Leuven, and in specific the Leuven AI Institute, is bringing forward to our consortium and our project. And on behalf of KU Leuven, Rodolfo will tell a little bit more about their tools.
Yes, thank you. And this is purely because in Leuven, it is a holiday, so they are out. If you have specific questions following this, it's best to address them to the help desk. Any general questions, I think we will be able to answer, but any specific questions, you can address them to the help desk and we will make sure that somebody from KU Leuven will respond to them. Leuven AI is an overarching research institute within Leuven, basically with strings to many different of the departments of the University of Leuven, all departments that have some connectivity and link with artificial intelligence. And quite a few of them are within our scope, within our partnership here. The four most important ones are on the next slide, Leah. So when it comes to tools that you can use, and with tools we mean labs, technologies, hardware, software, models, but also knowledge of the experts within these institutes. At KU Leuven, there are 4 sides involved in our project that you can address. The first one is explainable AI or XAI. The second one is virtual reality. The third one is the sociality of AI. And the fourth one is around algorithmic supply chains. And very quickly, we will go through each one of them. When it comes to explainable AI, we are talking about a set of methods and techniques that aim to make the decision-making processes of AI models transparent and understandable to us as humans. And this is about user centricity. This is about interfacing and how interfaces can explain what a model is coming up with, visualization, analytics, but also the other side, from the side of the user. They have a lot of expertise and tools to investigate how, as a user, you respond to AI models. These are the 5 core elements on explainable AI that are in the tool set of Hungry EcoCities and that you can use in your experiment proposal in any way feasible. Secondly, virtual reality. When it comes to virtual reality, KU Leuven or Leuven AI is quite specific. So this is not so much about introductions to virtual reality. Of course, they have all the systems available. They have all the tools available. Actually, one of our other partners has that as well. But at KU Leuven, they specifically focus on things like cross-reality interaction, so blurring the boundaries between the physical and the digital. Haptic proxies, also very related to that. How do you actually experience going through a virtual world while you're doing it physically? Same with walking, plotting natural walking in virtual reality, and studies. These are some pictures that correlate to that. And again, here they have the labs, they have the tools, the expertise, and all of the, the newest available hardware systems in place. So if you're thinking about conducting your experiment into this direction, for instance, or the other one, you don't have to worry too much about buying equipment yourself, unless you want to keep it after the experiment, because many of the things are available in the labs of our partner universities as well, at least for the Hungry EcoCities experimentation phase. Thirdly, sociality of AI. This is a bit more abstract. This is a part of Leuven AI that deals a lot with the fairness of AI systems, worker rights, social effects, affordability, accessibility, inclusion, those kind of things, and developing interfaces, how to understand that. When it comes to our the researchers that are part of our group, they have a specific expertise in when it comes to AI in relation to labor markets. So in relation to jobs replacements, collaboration, human-machine collaboration, what that means for jobs and how they are distributed between machines and humans. And the last one, algorithmic supply chains. This is mostly specific if you are thinking about submitting a proposal that doesn't necessarily deal with the growth side or the consumption side of food, but mostly around the logistics or the side in the middle, everything in the middle. Also there, we have quite a lot of expertise and possibilities to support when it comes to processing data sets, inventory management, but also a lot of models around the ecological impact of distribution and how they can be decarbonized, model shifts. And the first one, actually, I'm going back to fourth, supply chain control towers. They have this amazing place in Leuven where you can control the whole process in a sort of watchtower type of environment. So this is when it comes to KU Leuven. And I think we're going to go to the next one right now, Leah.
Yes, we're going to go to, I'm going to skip a few because first we're going to go to the Brno University of Technology. Many of our partners are universities, the tech partners, so sometimes they do have to give lectures and panels in between lectures, but here to give you a bit of an insight in what the Brno University of Technology is bringing towards the experiments. Paul Smerts, floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry for being late, and I will have to continue with the lectures here at the university. But what we offer as technologies is in three domains. So IoT systems and data analysis around it, then virtual reality and autonomous and robotic systems. So on the next slide, you see some of the processors and let's say devices that we can use and offer expertise and helping creative coders and technologists to develop their prototypes, their artistic experiments in IoT-enabled systems. So what we do is low power processing on these kind of chips, so very cheap devices that can be used. Then it can be deployed in the field, and we can help with the communication and the communication or again the data transfer and learning, either on the level of edge computing, so close to the field, close to the devices, or then in the cloud, some advanced analysis and incremental learning environments. So anything that deals with the hardware, IoT communication, and then data processing, we could and offer tools, even the processors and accelerators for that. On the next slide, there is one of the images that here it's more applied in industrial settings, but we have a platform of various robots. Here is PR2, which is big and cannot be easily transported, but we have other robots. But for again in-field robotics and autonomous systems, and for, let's say, application of robots in the kitchen or in the shops, we can help the development. We have several projects in natural programming for robotic systems. So here it combines the smart tables with AR technology, and we can help in this respect. So on the next slide, again, there is the link to the third topic, here programming, but the general use of augmented reality or even virtual reality to help the creative coders. And the last thing is the application of mixed reality. We called it in documents, let's say virtual reality and augmented reality, but today we are thinking about the applications of AI in, potentially in metaverse, and we still we know that food and let's say consumption and what the project is about is like in physical reality. We don't want to replace the contact, direct contact with the virtual reality, but there are cases where let's say kids can learn of the way the food is produced or grows, and we imagine that there can be some gamification or storytelling about educating people about the nutrition value, about the way things are produced, and we can help to apply technology. So we here the images shows the use for some combined mixed reality for you could only fly over the fields, but we have other technologies together with some studios, game studios and film producers that provide these, and we can help artists in these areas. Okay.
Thank you, Pavel. Can you join for 5 minutes more? If someone has specific questions for you in the chat, write them already in the chat. And in the meantime, otherwise we will address them later on. Then I would like to introduce our third technology partner, and that is the Mendel University of Brno, here represented by Dalibor. And they are adding to the project 4 different types of directions. Dalibor, could you please elaborate on it?
Thank you, Leah. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Currently, our lab is carrying out on research on plants and microalgae, and mainly their interaction with abiotic and biotic stress factors, with a special focus on secondary metabolites, and second topic is research of microalgae and their using and utilization in the future agriculture. So we are common wet lab, and here we can see that we need the skills to sequence the genomes of organisms on a molecular levels. And this is a very new and fast development. So by learning about the molecular characteristics of organisms on all scale, from singular cell organism to humans and animals, and this is a new door has opened in the field of the biological research and knowledge building. So molecular level differences and interaction between species are being discovered on a continuous basis, leading to insights into the effect of human activities over the time and place on the evolution of many species. So we need AI for we need the software and AI for study of the big data from what we are able to get from these microorganisms, and we need to compare these organisms on the level of bioreactors, on the level of growing of these organisms. So next slide, please. This is another topic. This topic deals with novel food and managing the condition and nutrients for this novel food materials. It is linked to changing the thinking of algae, not barely as a supplement, but as a separate food source. It leads to questions as how to consume this new food, how will the new food reach the customers, and also how to make it taste good, in which forms can it exist. Algae can be linked to all 3 directions through the bioreactors. The scalability can be addressed as a part of nutrient factory, and also algae can contribute to the ambition of bringing nature back into the city, the LG making it more than human city. And here we need the, again, we need AI for optimization of condition of growing of our microalgae, and we need the AI for setup the setup of the bioreactors and set up the optimization of like a temperature, pH, cell counting, and yeah, the next slide, please. This is another topic. This topic is quite new. These tools allow the monitoring of plant stress caused by toxicants, pollutants, or some pathogens. We are trying to listen plants by our equipments and also measure the compounds by UV analytics. And we are able to get a lot of data. And now we are looking correlation and algorithm, which can be translated to the, let's say, plant, what plants are saying. And on this level, we would like to then use this equipment for sensoric analysis of plant health and their welfare.
Okay, thank you, Dalibor. And with that notion on the welfare of all non-humans and humans and agents involved within our ecosystems, that's the last part actually of this webinar today. We've talked about a bit the general scope of the Hungry EcoCities project, the application form and the evaluation criteria. We explained how the matchmaking process will take place for the pre-selected artists, and we gave you a bit more insights into the different tools that are available from our technology partners. This time we didn't go into depth with the different directions of the 3 host studios. Each studio has created a small video. They have written a 3-direction booklet in which you can read about their vision and their direction to which you can apply. And when the projects will start, you will collaborate mainly with the host studio, but also with the other parties to enable that. And there are different resources available at the host studios, but also at the universities. As Rodolfo said, for certain cases, you don't have to buy it, you can test it over there. So with that, I would like to go to the questions and finish our presentation part and open up the floor for interaction. I would like to thank all the partners already who have presented, and I'm very curious to hear your questions and thoughts for this open call. Thank you. So I see there have already been some questions in the chat which have been answered directly. If you want to ask a question, just raise your hand or write it in the chat. Rodolfo, is there anything you would already like to reply to in public?
I've tried to answer as best as I could in the chat directly. I see some thumbs up, so I hope that means that the reactions are clear. If any of these reactions are not clear, now you can also raise your question directly. In the meantime, new questions are coming in, Leah, so we could start by following up on those.
Okay, a question from Golfert. Where is the residency? So the residency depends on which direction you choose. Each of the host studios has a different approach in that. The ones that are choosing for the direction of Carlo Ratti Associati, they are really invited to go to them in Turin and to be part of the team there, while the ones for Studio Other Spaces and for EDIS, they can be much more remote, but that's also something for you to say like what you would like and to write into your proposal. The location of the residency is mostly focused with the hosting studios. So the technological universities are supporting in that. Regarding the artist selection, are you aiming to fill all 3 fields of investigation within each direction? Yes, we are aiming to find good candidates for all three directions, but we do not say that they have, we of course hope they are evenly distributed, but that depends on the quality of the applications that we will get. Will there be any correlations with next year's call? Is it possible to do a one phase of an art project in this year? Call and then continue next year with advanced prototypes deriving from art projects when SMEs are involved. So indeed, Simon, we have a two-staged call. Well, we have two different calls. This one is really to focus on the humanizing technology, where we have the technology and the collaboration with the hosting studios as core, supported by the technology mentors and innovation, art-driven innovation mentors. And what is being developed in there, that should be an open source component that can be used in the next phase. For the next phase, new projects, new teams will be formed between an artist and an SME. But those that are involved in the first open call are not able to apply to the second open call, because we want to give the floor to 20 different artists to apply in this Hungry Cities open call. Any other questions? It's unclear to me from the direction booklet what resources are available at the hosts, other spaces in this case. Well, first of all, of course, it's the knowledge and the network that studios have. Studio Other Spaces is located in Berlin. They have a lot of different workshops there, but we will ask them to give a bit more insight on that and reply on that through the community questions and FIQ.
Maybe I can add a bit to that. Good question, Teresa. So in this case, Studio Other Spaces is a studio of over 100 people, comprising of researchers, architects, designers, artists, anything there. We really see this also if you are interested in one of the other studios, either EDIS or Colorati Associatie, that these experiments, these residencies become a team effort, primarily between you as an artist and the host studio, and fed in by the universities, their experts, and also other partners. That means that they will do whatever is possible and feasible with the people they have, the knowledge they have, the experience they have to support this project. It's different compared to the universities. There we have actual labs and hardware. With them, it's of course much more wider, but see it as a partnership, not as a place where you come in and you get offered something and that's it, but it's on a needs base. What is needed for the project to succeed is what the studio will want to offer and bring in.
One new question. Can one apply to do a residency in Berlin if they also do live in Berlin, or should residency take place not in the city where the artist is based? Of course, if you're based in Berlin and that direction of Studio Other Spaces appeal most to you, you can apply to that one. How are things arranged for within the IPR of your work? Good question as well. Rodolfo, would you like to answer that one?
Yes. So each project is by definition going to be a bit different. Some of the projects will focus on hardware development, others on software, others on both, or even a third option. What we have set out is a base framework of operandi, where we make a distinction between background IP and in the project developed IP. Background IP, either from a university, a host studio, or from you as an artist, we identify separately, and that always remains in the ownership of the one who brings it in. What has happened what is developed within the project, our intent is to have that IP made available under an open source, on a creative coding license, Creative Commons license, sorry. A Creative Commons license, not for commercial reuse, but for reuse in other projects or other experiments later on. That is the base situation. Of course, when the projects are going to start, in the first instance, we're going to draw up the contracts and create individual project plans. So if there is a reason to do it differently, that is the moment where we can discuss it with everyone individually.
Thank you. Any other questions? If they come up later, you can always ask them on the community platform or send an email to the dedicated Hungry EcoCities at fundingbox.com email address, and we will reply to you. I'm giving everybody a last moment to pop up questions, but I don't see anything. So I think we have answered the questions so far. Thank you for attending this webinar. We're looking very much forward to your proposals. We hope that you are interested in it, that we teased you to start a collaboration with us. You've just seen a few of our partners now, but know that we are with many more, and we are looking forward to do this together with you. We see it as a team effort. We wish you good luck also with the application to submit that, and we will get back to you when we have received it. So on that note, I would like to thank all of you and wishing you a good Thursday. Thank you.